Welcome to the House of Genes podcast. My name is Daniel Guzman. I'm your host, head of performance for 3x4 Genetics. And today we got special guest, Brek Shea. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
We are currently in Raleigh, North Carolina for TST. I first heard your name when I was working in pro soccer, but a good friend of mine, Tom Job, I heard you guys had a nice little relationship. Good little buddy there.
I met him obviously at Inter Miami. Happened to be injured for a time period. And so we got to spend a lot of one-on-one time together in the gym and on the field and became pretty close friends. So great guy, good at his job. And he was pretty funny guy too.
He's one of the greatest guys because he doesn't want any of the camera. He doesn't want to be front and center. He's just a normal dude that loves helping people get stronger and faster. And he loves good whiskey too. So
yes, he took me to a whiskey bar.
Did he really?
Yeah.
No way.
It was like a dungeon. It was amazing though. He had a little hole in the wall, and
This is in
it was like
Miami?
Fort Lauderdale. It was like a high end speakeasy, but for whiskey.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Okay, I'm gonna have to ask him.
Yeah.
He gets really excited with that.
Yeah.
More than strength and conditioning.
Yeah. It was good. And the shy camera part, that's me. So we gelled on that.
There we go. I love that. So we're in a tournament right now, but I want to start back with your career. When did you first make the jump when you were like, okay, I'm going to get really serious about footy? Was it early on, middle school ages, or were you a little bit older and you're like, no, it's time to?
No, I mean, I played in my local town. From a small town. I was pretty good, and then made the jump to play for a team in Houston, which was like an hour 45, obviously a bigger market. A lot of talent.
You were making that drive 2 hours?
My dad was, yeah.
Dang.
Shout out to my dad.
Yeah, a lot of cars.
I get mad. I literally talked about this the other day. I get mad driving 20 minutes to my son's hockey practice. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, a bit crazy from him, but obviously it worked out, and thank you very much for that. But once I joined that team, that was the team I played with until I went to residency. And 4 of my best friends today were from that team from 10 years old.
Really?
Yeah. So it was pretty
No
cool.
way.
Like it started out, I just loved doing it, and I happened to be all right at it. And then I ended up making some really good friends, and that made it even funner, going to tournaments, winning games. And we actually were pretty good also.
Yeah.
But then I heard about residency and the U17 national team, and I wanted to be a part of that. So, at the time I just wanted free cleats. So, you're
like,
part
hey,
of
here
the
we
national
go.
team and get free cleats. So that was like,
where was residency too?
It was at IMG.
Okay,
So,
cool. So at 17, make the decision to leave home.
Now you play for the under 17 national team. So you're like 14, 15,
Oh,
16, depending on when you get called in.
Yeah.
And we go to high school there. It's gone away now because of the academies and all
Yeah,
that. But
sure.
before they didn't have that. So they wanted to bring them all together, and we would qualify for the U17 World Cup, go play the U17 World Cup, and then either go to college or get drafted, or if you had to finish school, you could stay another semester.
Okay.
So a bunch of kids my age, but that was my, like, when I was like, oh, I want to be there because the best players are there. And
Yeah.
free cleats was like the height of it, Like,
You get one pair of free cleats.
I was, I'm not even kidding. That was my goal, like to get there.
Oh, really?
And then I made it, obviously. And then I realized, oh, like I could do this, and I don't really want to sit behind a desk, and I enjoy doing this. So let's push into this and see what happens.
So you make the jump to residency. What's that like? 'Cause I bet there's some kids now that may be in that situation where they are either going across seas or taking the bet on themselves, but you're leaving home. I mean, your dad drove you 2 hours every day,
Yeah.
and now you're kind of on your own. What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, at that time it was like the pinnacle for me to get there and do that. And then leaving home was a little scary, but I was excited. I wanted to go. I look at it, I didn't go to college, but I look at it like as an early college experience, because I'm there
Totally,
with
yeah.
a bunch of kids my age. I have to figure out schooling on my own. I've got to, wake up and be places and do homework, and no one's telling you to do it.
Yeah.
So a little adjusting period, but it was great. I mean, some people didn't like it because you don't have that normal high school life, like, like the dances or, I don't know, parties or whatever, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. 20 kids my age that are really good at the sport I love, and all aiming to do the same thing. So it was.
So before you
awesome.
go pro, did you have a bunch of I call it high performance standards, or just a good routine about how to be a pro? Or did you not learn that stuff? Were you just pure talent and then you make it? I mean, obviously you worked your butt off, but you make it to go pro. Where's your first pro team?
Dallas.
So you're at Dallas. Are you starting to build some of these routines? Like, okay, here's how I take care of myself. Or did you get a lot of that at the residency?
No, I was pretty much pure talent and fun. Like
Yeah.
had a lot of fun doing it. And like I said, I happen to be pretty good at it. Residency is what helped me get to the jump. If I didn't have residency, I would have never made it. Even if I would have been good and didn't make residency in college, I probably wouldn't have made it. Residency taught me if you're on time, you're late, don't wear jewelry, always shake hands, just the dumb stuff these kids look over these days. Like, picking up after yourself, looking after yourself, having a routine pre-post, taking shakes, talking to mental coaches or watching video, all the things you learn as a pro.
All those resources, yeah.
I learned that at 15, 16 years old. And maybe I didn't pick up on 50% of it, but that 50% helped me realize not to be a jackass kind of.
Yeah, there you go. It's always helpful. You get that. You go pro. I mean, I would say, hopefully you would too. You had a really good career when you were playing. You bounced a lot of teams. The thing that I always heard about you is that you're a really good teammate, which I think is probably one of the best compliments you could ever get. As you're going throughout these teams, some people ask about like, oh, what could you have done better? I like the other side. Like, what's a moment you were really proud of on a certain team, whether it was the group of guys or something you accomplished or a big development milestone for you? What was something you were really proud of?
I mean, I think that's a compliment. I'm always a guy that I'm no better than anyone else and no one else is any better than me. So good people, and you do good things happen to you. So I've always looked at life like that, no matter where I was. And then going back to residency, we traveled the world and played in Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, Korea, Japan. Like, we travel these places and you get to see the world, and you're in Brazil or Argentina, you see the favelas, you look at your life a little differently, So every time I would get upset, like at a game or upset at myself in my life, I'd be like, dude, these guys are fighting for 10 cents a day, or for just food and water. And I got it pretty good. So that helped me, snap back into like, I'm pretty lucky where I'm at, even the worst situation I ever had.
The perspective change.
But like a moment in my career, I don't know, 2010, we went to the MLS Cup finals. I played for a team, FC Dallas. And that team, I was one of the younger guys. I think we set the league unbeaten streak. It was like 19 games. I think it's still there.
Dang.
And it was the whole team. We had me, I was like 17 or 18. And then we had a 44-year-old goalie, Argentinian goalie. And like how close we all were. Like, we go to away trips, we'd all go to dinner. We'd all go to a bar. We'd all go have barbecues every week. Like, we were just like this. And like, so you just had that feeling of like, everybody had your back. And we'd be 2-0 down at 80th minute and literally didn't care because I don't know, we just found ways to win. And it was just like, I just really think like, when the guy's got your back, totally. I can do something. And if I mess up, it's not like he's killing me. He's lifting me up. Next time better. It was always like, it was just a positive environment. That year, I remember Heath Pierce was on my team, and he looked at me and he was like, dude, you'll never play on a team like this again. I was like, I was so early in my career. I was like, I didn't believe him at all. And looking back, like, I never had another year like that. It was everything from the coaching staff to the players. Everything was just in line, and everybody bought into whatever we were doing. And it was just a good time.
Dang, that's pretty special. That was one of your close friends, Heath?
Yeah.
You had a few close buddies.
That was great because Heath Pierce was playing left back at Dallas, and I was playing left mid, and he was on the national team at the time. And he told me, he's like, hey, listen to me, I'll get you on the national team. I think it was more like, hey, I'm going to help you like be a better player. And
yeah, for sure.
That was, he did a lot of negative things in a funny way, but
of course.
He was very helpful to me and to a lot of the guys, and it was a great guy to be around.
That's pretty special. I mean, that's at a young age. And then I kind of want to segue what you're building with the ground. Are you trying to build kind of that same thing of community and teamwork and all those principles at the ground? What's going on there?
Yeah. I mean, me and Jeff have like the same vision, but being completely two different guys. Like, he has his ways and I have my way. And I think
how do you
some way that like two of him would never work, two of me would never work. So I think we joke around the yin and the yang, and we help each other. But kids these days are getting away from like the silly stuff I talked about, like respect, working hard, just to help each other instead of like ridiculing someone for making a mistake. Hey, I know you're better than that. Next time, let's be better. Just being on the positive side, making an environment that everybody wants to get better. And if we have a pro guy in and we have a 12-year-old guy in, like, they're looking at each other the same, this guy can help this guy. And now this guy's looking at this guy. Like, that's where I want to be. So just aspiring the young kids and then helping obviously the professionals sustain their career and go more. That's
pretty cool that you're kind of getting both ends of the spectrum. Is there a certain age group that you really love pouring into? Do you like the young pro guys or the older veterans, or is it like the 8-year-olds, or is it just kind of all in between?
Each one has their different, goods and bads. But I mean, the pro guys are obviously more fun to work with because we can jump in and really push them and try to help them there. But any kid, if he's 10 years old and he's dedicated and he wants to get better, it's fun to watch them like the awe moment, like, oh, like how much like that,
Yeah.
like just by opening half a step, you can see more of the field and being able to turn quicker and just little things, and watching them take that on and then use it. Like I can use my daughter's example, like just watching her grow by giving her information. And like I said, she might pick up 20% of it, but each time she's picking up a little more and more. It's just fun to see these young players learn and grow and put into action what we're trying to teach.
I'm actually going to shift something. I was going to ask this, but you mentioned it earlier about I'm better than no one else better than me, which I think is a really humble perspective. How do you teach that to people? That's a tough one, because obviously it probably came from your parents somewhere, but how do you teach that?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I just
Well, where did you pick that up from?
from just my family values, I
Mhm.
mean, I came from a family where we sat down and had dinner together every single night until I
Mhm.
left. It was just a thing. And my dad was always respectful, and I'm from Texas, and that's just, you learn
Yeah.
respect. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. These things, you hold the door, you open the door, you do these things without thinking about it. I don't know. I always try to err on the positive side. So even the worst thing possible, your mind's going to go to a bad place, but then trying to flip it to how can this help me, or how can I learn from
Yeah.
this, and try and, but to answer your question, I'm not really sure.
Well, in a lot of teams, I mean, I was a coach in a team, you were a player. There's always a lot of egos.
Yes.
How did you operate that? Because I don't see you as a guy that's like, hey, you're going to do it my way at all. You're like, this is just how I live my life. How do you think players can learn from that? It's pretty hard to have an ego check, especially if you're one of the better players in the residency or university or a pro team. Because you would agree that a lot of times egos just get in the way.
Yes.
That's what breaks stuff down. So how can a player, I mean, they'd have to do a lot of self-reflection, but how could they be like, hey, I'm going to work on my ego? Like, what is that even like?
I guess them recognizing it is the first step, right? And because sometimes a lot of kids don't recognize it. They just have this
That's a good
arrogance.
point.
And
I didn't
look,
think about that.
I don't want to take away, like, you should have a self-belief beyond anyone else, because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is. So
Yeah.
there is a side that you should have a little arrogance, but it shouldn't be stepping on other people to have that,
Yeah.
So I respect players that have that, and I definitely think they need that, but it shouldn't cost your teammates
For
or
sure, yeah.
other players, other team.
Yeah.
But still, like, even like knock somebody down, I could get mad as soon as the game's over, even if I threw this guy down in the middle of the game, like, what's up? No big deal. Like, I was
Yeah.
just in the mode. But again, I don't know.
That's pretty cool though. I mean, that happens a lot in games where you guys are battling, if it's in England, MLS, whatever. And then after you guys are like, hey, we battled, but now we can still be buddies after. And that's cool. I actually have a question that I was talking to Brian Mazza earlier, because he coaches one of his kids right now. Something that's not talked about, I'm just interested to hear your perspective, is the car ride home after a sports game with your child, whether you coach or you were just supporting. What are you talking about on the car ride home? Like when Brian and I talked, he's not talking sports at all in the car ride. When I talk to my daughter, I literally ask her, tell me a moment you were a good teammate. That's all I care about.
That's
Like,
nice.
and if she can focus on that. But what's something that you talk about with your kids in the car?
My wife was an athlete also, and the only thing we ask of our kids is, like, pretty obvious. Like, you control your attitude and your effort. So we ask, like, how do you think your attitude was today? Or how was your effort? Could you have given more, or did you give it all? And it doesn't really matter. It's just putting them to think about it, secondhand. And I don't ever talk about it unless they bring it up. So if my son had a hockey game and he asks about something, then we'll talk about it. Going back to my dad, he never was a yeller. He never got mad at me, twice actually in my whole life, but they were needed. And so I don't do that. Like, I'm not one to yell at him and just like, hey, like, again, don't look at that play as like the worst thing that happened. Look at that play like, okay, I know what I should have done and what I shouldn't do next time. So again, trying to learn from things. Like, you have to make mistakes. Like, if your kid's the best all the way up, like, they're not ever getting knocked down.
That's true.
They have to get knocked down to get back up. Then, because let's say you make it all the way and you're not ready for it. You don't have the armor. Like Jeff talks about, this robustness. If you're not ready, if you haven't been knocked down before, when you get somewhere, you're eventually going to get knocked down.
Totally, yeah.
And you've never built armor to be able to handle it.
It's a great perspective. I mean, most parents, their kids get into sports and they never played sports or not at a high level. And I think they can get it mixed up. Like, oh, I got to do all this stuff as a pro. But most kids aren't going to make it pro. It's just about, like, how can you teach them the right life skills about if it is robustness or resiliency, because we're all going to get knocked in the face at some point, right?
Yeah.
Happens to everybody. But I like the response I had. Speaking of learning education, I know that we just gave you one of these tests couple weeks ago, so you haven't gotten the results yet. But what is something about this that might interest you? You know, a lot of people don't even know what genetic testing is. Obviously, it's a decision. You weren't forced to do it, but you thought, oh, this could be cool. Why were you open to taking it?
I mean, I'm always open to learn. I mean, I think every 10 years there's this whole new way of learning how to help yourself be better, whether it's sleep or endurance or performance or all that. But you mentioned earlier, like when I get my test back, knowing when is the optimal time to have caffeine or not, you know, like I think stuff like that and what works with my specific genetics can be very helpful just to optimize my health, being a dad now.
Yeah. You need a lot of recovery.
Yeah.
What is your current setup now? Like, what do you still do for training? I saw you and Jeff training with bar whist pretty dang hard.
Yes.
What are you doing for training? What are you doing for recovery on a normal basis?
Not the same as I used to, but
Yeah,
I mean, you do something for so long. Like if I go 2 days without working out, I lose my mind. I feel gross. So like I try to sustain it, and depending on the year, like, so leading up to TST for a while, I work out and I feel great. And then it's pretty chill. And then I have a hunting trip. That's one of the hardest things I ever do. So I build it back up again for the end of October, November.
You go backcountry hunting and stuff?
Yeah. And there's nothing that compares to it.
I've just learned about the hunting world and how much strength conditioning you need for that, right?
Yeah.
'Cause if you're going to carry out whatever you're carrying or going after,
Yep.
right? And you got to be on your guard too, because you're going into their territory. How long have you been doing that?
5 years now.
Wow. That's impressive. How'd you get into that?
All my friends I talked about that I grew up with playing club soccer with, they go every year, and I just could never go because of playing. And then
Really?
my last 2 years I was able to go because I can't remember, maybe the World Cup. The season ended early. I was able to go 2 years while playing, and then obviously ever since I stopped playing. But yeah,
that's got to be pretty fun.
It's not only fun, but like you go out there, no cell service, you're just there, and you're, like you said, your senses. It's hard, it's rewarding. It's yeah, I don't know how to explain it. You're just out in nature, and you just kind of, I mean, you hear everything, you smell different. Like you get like all your senses are heightened just because you're out there being scared, obviously trying to find something, and the reward of actually getting what you were looking for. And then I get to survive off the meat for a year, me and my family. So it's providing what I would say is probably the healthiest meat I could get.
For sure.
And it's rewarding.
It's pretty special. I'm gonna have to look into it more because I've got a lot of friends in California that do a lot of bow hunters.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize how difficult that is.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of technique and strategy and, you know, different planning. So it's kind of like a sport, right?
Yeah.
But you're also doing it in the right ways. So super exciting. I got one more question. I feel like I already know your answer.
Okay.
But I've been asking guys about legacy. So you had this playing career, but now you're going to have this career as an entrepreneur, as a father, as a husband, all these kind of things. 30, 40 years down the road when you and I are sitting at the beach doing, you know, watching the waves or whatever, what do you want people to think about Brek Shea down the road?
I don't really want them to think about me at all.
Yeah.
Seriously. I look forward to the day if my kids choose to play sports. I'm going to go to every single game, whether they play in college or they just play. Like that's what I seriously want to just enjoy my kids, and hopefully I raise them right and they become good humans, and whatever they do, they do it at the best of their ability. And hopefully I'm on a farm and I don't have to talk to anyone.
Yeah, there we go, on a farm, remote, unplugged.
It's my life goal. So
cool.
I enjoy being around people and doing things, and I want to create this business with Jeff, but I want to be successful at it and then kind of, you know, walk away.
Yeah, no, I love that. True family man. Appreciate it. All right, Brek, thanks for joining us. This is the House of Genes podcast. Let's go win $1 million.
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. Thanks, man.